watcher at Wren Hallow, in the hills of northern Yorkshire where the fog drifts low and the wind sighs like an old man. Remembering there lies a place called Wren Hallow, a small valley where few people choose to live and even fewer stay long. In the center of the hollow, surrounded by ancient oaks and crumbling stone walls, sits a house with ivy-covered eaves and windows like tired eyes, Wren Hallow Manor. For nearly 100 years, no one had lived there until Eleanor. She wasn't a brave woman, not really, but she wasn't frightened easily either. She was a historian fascinated by forgotten places, and Wren Hallow had called to her like a whisper in the night. She bought the house for almost nothing and moved in with her cat, Moss, a sullen gray tabby with a crooked tail and no patience for nonsense. The house was old, yes, but strong. The wood creaked but didn't crack, the fireplaces were cold but functional, and the wallpaper peeled in elegant curls like scrolls waiting to be read. There was something peaceful about it in the day, but when night fell, the house changed. It began the first evening. Eleanor had lit a fire and was reading by lamplight in the sitting room when Moss curled beside her. His ears flattened, he stared at the hallway. Then Eleanor heard it too. Tap, tap, tap. 3 knocks. Not at the door. Not from above. From within the walls. She froze. Moss hissed, but after a long silence, there was nothing more. She told herself it was an old house, and old houses settle. Pipes knock. Floors groan. Still, she locked her bedroom door that night. The knocking returned the next night. Same time, just past midnight. Tap, tap, tap. This time, it was followed by something else, a low, scraping sound. Like someone dragging cloth across stone. Eleanor, wide awake now, tiptoed from her room with a candle. The house seemed darker than usual. The shadows stretched like they were trying to escape the corners. She followed the sound to the staircase, and there at the bottom stood a dark figure. Tall, pale, silent, wearing an old-fashioned black cloak. Eleanor's breath caught. "Hello," she said, voice trembling. The figure didn't answer. It slowly turned, but where her face should have been, there was only a deep, endless blackness under the hood. Moss yowled from behind her, and in that moment of distraction, the figure vanished, melting into the shadows. Eleanor didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next day, she searched the manor. Every room, every crawl space. She found nothing out of place, until she came to the attic. There, beneath dusty tarps and broken furniture, she discovered an old trunk. Inside were yellowed letters, stained with tears and sealed with a crest, a wren in flight. The letters told the story of a man named Arthur Wren, the last heir of the family. He'd lived in the house 100 years ago and had vanished one stormy night. His fiancée died in a fire. Some said he'd gone mad. Others said he never left. One letter, dated the day before his disappearance. Read only this. She calls to me from the walls. I see her at night. I must follow. That night, Eleanor didn't sleep in her bedroom. She waited in the sitting room with her candle and Moss beside her, and at exactly midnight, she heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. But this time, she stood. "What do you want?" she said aloud, voice shaking, and from the hallway, the voice came, a whisper, ancient and hollow. "Help me." The figure appeared again, just beyond the candlelight, but this time Eleanor didn't run. She stepped closer. The figure lifted its hand and pointed to the wall, the wren crest, carved into the wood, just barely visible beneath the wallpaper. Eleanor peeled it back and found a hidden door. Inside was a narrow stair descending into the earth. Moss tucked in her coat and her candle trembling in her hand, she followed. The stair opened into a stone chamber. At its center, a coffin, cracked, empty, and on the floor. A ring, a woman's ring. As she picked it up, the wind howled through the chamber. Though there were no windows, the figure appeared one last time. This time, she could see the outline of a man's face, pale, sad, almost grateful. Arthur Wren. He looked at her, then at the ring, then slowly faded into the earth. From that night on, the house was still. No knocking, no whispers, just the peaceful creak of old wood and the soft purring of Moss by the fire. Eleanor stayed for years, wrote a book, grew old. On foggy nights, sometimes she swore she saw a figure at the edge of the woods. A tall man in a cloak, watching, guarding, no longer trapped, just waiting, watching.